So if you want to see how I created this look using the Juvia's Warrior 2 palette, just keep on watching. Hey guys, so it's so early in the morning and I'm going to be reviewing the Warrior 2 by Juvias. As soon as this went on pre-order, I got it, but it took like forever and a day for it to get to me. Anyway, right, so this is what the outside packaging looks like in the box. I'm kind of whispering because my kids are still asleep. So this is what the outside box looks like. When they first showed the 3 Warrior palettes that they were going to be bringing out, this was originally pink rather than this flesh tone kind of color. The top of it is red and all of the lettering is raised, and it's the same on the front. The lettering here is raised. Now the blurb on the back, it is the exact same as the original Warrior palette description, which says inspired by the ferocious and decapitating beauty of the Dahomey Amazons of Africa, who defied societal norms to protect their people, a true embodiment of strength, fierceness and beauty. So that's what that says, which is the exact same as what the original Warrior palette said. I did check it when I got it. I don't know why I decided to check it, but I think I was reading it and I was like, hold on, this sounds so familiar, and I checked and it was the exact same. Because I keep the boxes because I want to make like a big collage or whatever of all of my favorite packaging, but that's gonna have to like come later on down the line because I need a huge wall. Well, I do have a huge wall, but I need to have a lot more items than I already have. Anyway, so this has a 24-month shelf life and it includes 32.4 grams, which is 1.14 ounces for those of you who are into all of those kind of stats and blah blah blah. It is also cruelty free. It doesn't say that it's vegan, so those of you who are vegan and this worries you, maybe do a little bit more research, because I'm not too sure if it is supposed to be vegan, but it just says that it's cruelty free. Now the writing on the front is raised again, and so is the spine of the palette. The writing on the spine of the palette is also raised, and this is the artwork. I feel like the artwork is just so beautiful and I would love to recreate it. Whenever I see Juvias Place's artwork, I just feel like, oh, I just want to recreate the art. And even my son was saying, oh, you should do that look that's on the palette. We'll see. Anyway, so this is the palette itself and the shadows inside. It has 9 shadows. This is their first all matte palette. Now when I first saw that this was on pre-order, I was kind of like, okay, let me just go to the website, let me just buy it. Need to sneeze. And then once I bought it, I was kind of like, what did I buy? Because the picture that they had up on their website, it just looked like they had taken it with an iPhone. It didn't look like they had it professionally done like they normally do. And then once the pre-order had finished and they had actually launched the product itself like properly, that's when they had all the proper pictures. So when I first ordered it, I was just kind of like, what is this? Like, I can't really see what I'm buying properly because there was a lot of shadows and like the lighting wasn't all that good. So the way that it looked on the website, it wasn't really that, it didn't really grab me. So I'm going to be doing some swatches of each of the shadows. Okay, so those are the first 3 shadows. And when I first saw these and I first swatched these, I was just kind of like, oh, these are kind of on the chalky side. So I'm going to go in with a second layer, and you can see that once I've gone in with a second layer, it looks a hell of a lot better. And these are the next 3, just one swipe, and this is then with a second swipe. This is the last 3, first swipe, and this is the last 3 with 2 swipes. So I kind of feel like on their own with just one swipe or just one layer, I kind of feel like they are a little bit on the patchier side and they need to be built up, but I feel like they do build up really nice. Oh, and also some of them feel a lot smoother than others, some of them feel a lot softer than others, some of them feel a lot drier than others. So I guess depending on which shadow you're using, you're going to find that one is probably going to be a little bit drier, a little bit softer, a little bit better than the others. And I don't know if that's because of the pigment itself or what, I'm not 100% sure. Just something that I noticed. Okay, so now we're gonna start creating a look. I've already done my brows. Okay, so you're zoomed in a little bit now. So first I'm going to go in with this salmony pink here, Dara. Oh, this creates a lot of kickback. So just be aware of that. I'm just going to try and dab all of that kickback onto my brush. And just push it onto the skin. Wow. Oh, wow. That is a bright color. Now I'm going to use Jamata, this brownie bricky kind of color, and I'm using the same brush, and I'm just going to go in to the crease. This is just to get a little bit of depth. Oh, that's nice. Okay, those two shadows have blended so well together. I must say though, I'm not getting a lot of fallout on my face. So I could have done this with my whole face with foundation on, something that I rarely ever do. Now I'm going to use the shade Zama. I'm going to use like a small crease brush. I'm going to just stamp it on the corner. Build that up a little bit. And then I'm going to use Walzana. Now this is more of like a greyish kind of colour. And it's very rare that you find a palette with like a charcoal grey. But I like that they've put a grey. Oh, that is nice. Okay, so I've gone from the orange and I've just kind of ombreed it into the grey. Okay, I am really feeling this. When I first purchased this, I was just kind of like, oh. Like when I went back and I checked it, I was just kind of like, oh. So I didn't really waste much time. I just got my card out and I just made the purchase. Because I know I was gonna buy it anyway. If it's a Juvias Place eyeshadow palette, I'm gonna buy it. But then when I went back and I checked exactly what I bought, I was just kind of like, oh. But now that I have, even when they had first actually done the proper launch with the proper pictures, I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Another brownie kind of palette from Juvias Place. Okay, fine, whatever. They already have what, 2, and they've got a bunch of colourful ones. So I was just kind of like, oh, another brown palette. But I really like this. I really like this. Oh wow, this is different from what I would normally do. And I like that they have this grey. I like the grey. So if you didn't want to do black or you didn't want to go too harsh, you could use the grey. And I found it so easy to blend this out without it going everywhere, without it going mad. Yes, I've had to use a very small crease brush so that I can just place it exactly where I want it and just blend it out. But it's like, I think more brands need to start doing grey rather than black. Because when I first swatched it, I was kind of like, why have a grey and a black? And the grey kind of was quite close to the black, but now that I'm wearing it, I get it. And I think more companies need to start doing grey rather than black. I like this idea. I like it. Okay, so this is the finished look. I really like this look. I absolutely adore the grey rather than the black. I haven't used the black in this palette. I just used the grey because when I first swatched the grey, as I said, I was kind of like, what's the point in having a grey and a black? I completely understand now. And as I said, I feel like more companies need to start doing dark ashy grey rather than black. Well, not rather than black, but maybe do it as well as black, because I just feel like this was a lot easier to control rather than a black which can go poof and go everywhere and make a mess. This was so much easier to control, but at the same time I still created that smoky look that I was trying to go for. It was just so easy to control. So when I first got this palette, as I said, I was just kind of like, what is this? It just looks like any other palette. And to be fair, even now as I look at it, I just kind of feel like, yes, it's one of those palettes where you have all of your staples. You have your oranges, you have the browns, you have your blacks, you have your tan colors, you've got everything. You've got your white, you've got your black, you've got everything that you need. And now look, you've got your charcoal color as well. And I most definitely feel like I'm so glad that I got this. I was kind of skeptical about them doing an all matte palette simply because their shimmers are always the things that stand out rather than the mattes. The mattes can be hit and miss. But as you saw from my swatches of them, you do kind of need to build it up. But on the eye, I didn't feel like I needed to like pack on and pack on and pack on to make the colors come through. I put a decent amount on my brush and put it on my eye. I was kind of like, it was just a generous amount without going over the top. Let's just put it like that, to be fair. So I am glad that I got this. It didn't look appealing on the website and I was just kind of like, meh, whatever it is, what it is. But I kind of feel like they really did the thing with this palette. This probably will be in my day-to-day rotation. I'm not 100% sure yet. Let's see if I feel to draw for it like tomorrow, the day after, or just throughout the month. Let's see whether or not it makes my faves, my fails. Well, I know it's not gonna make my fails, but let's see if it makes one of my faves. So what do you think of the look that I created? Do you think that it's a good thing that they made an all matte palette? Do you not care that they made an all matte palette? Is this a palette that you're gonna buy if you haven't already done so already? And if you have already done so, what do you think of the palette? What do you think of Juvia's Place and their palettes and their makeup just overall? So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.